Welcome to this Sunday's Gospel Reflection. Well, have you ever found yourself searching for ways and means to explain some deep truth of life to a little child? I remember one such instance when I was a little child. Well, my younger sister had been hospitalized at Lazaretto due to some infectious disease. And my mom took me with her when it was time to go and fetch her back home. And I remember waiting outside an enormous iron gate, and I couldn't help noticing how my mom was crying. I could not understand. Wasn't she supposed to be happy now that my sister was okay and coming back home? Why are you crying, mommy? I asked her. Aren't you happy that sister is coming back home? Of course, she promptly answered, but these are tears of joy, not tears of sorrow. That was a great lesson I'll never forget. How hard it is to separate joy from sorrow, happiness from pain, beauty from ugliness. Like tears, life is made up of seemingly opposite realities. But because life is life, one reality can never totally exclude another, even if they seem to be the opposite. In today's gospel, I can imagine Jesus struggling, like my mom was struggling to explain something difficult for me as a child. Jesus is struggling to make his little children, his disciples, understand the essential truths of life. He uses the often used and abused term, kingdom of God. Very simply, we could translate it as the good life, or when life is really good. But everything depends on what our idea of a good life may be in this or that particular moment of our lives. Jesus struggles to navigate through all this to help his listeners discover the secret of a really good life in the way God sees it, rather than their own poor, limited, short sighted human way. In the first often quoted parable or comparison, Jesus likens life to the good seed that is sown by a man and the bad seed sown by his enemy. Life is like that field, a mixture of good and bad, strength and weaknesses. Both can grow and both will have consequences. Our best qualities are also our greatest weaknesses. There is nothing pure. Nothing in life is one-sided. Nothing simple and straightforward. Life is a vale of tears. But like mommy's tears, it is hard to say whether these are tears of joy or tears of sorrow. We have to grow not in spite of our defects, but together with and thanks to our weaknesses and limitations and defects. Trying to eliminate one will only destroy the other. It's not hating or wanting to erase our mistakes that makes us okay. It is learning from them that will make us better persons. The second comparison is with the tiny mustard seed. This tiniest of seeds will grow into the largest and most impressive and welcoming trees where birds come and find their rest. The truth is that in life, small is beautiful. Unfortunately, being so small ourselves, we associate what is small, humble, simple to what is fragile, unimportant, insignificant. So we make ourselves miserable because we aim so high that we lose sight of the simple joys of life in our crazy rush to reach the skies. No wonder that we are constantly crashing down from our high flown ideals, our dreams and fantasies that in the long or short run have proved to be just illusions. Blessed are those who are simple hearted and single minded. Their little steps will indeed take them very far in life. Their tiny wing flaps will help them soar to the highest skies. Life never comes to us in buckets full, but always in little drops. We have indeed to think big, but we have to have the courage to act small. The third comparison is that of the little yeast that leavens up the whole batch of dough. What makes a difference in life is never a head-on intervention or a violent confrontation. All the wars waged in human history have always proved to be monumental, costly, and futile disasters. Try to change a child's behavior. You may think that your power, your threats, punishment, or rewards will bring him in line. Maybe for a short-lived moment, but only love and understanding will change the child himself, than rather just his behavior. How effective has been our millennia of preaching the fear of hell or the carrot of heaven to make people behave well? Just have a look around you, around us, all the corruption that is consuming our society, our moral fiber, our families, ourselves. If you want to change a person's ways, first you have to change that person's heart. You will never change anyone by overcoming that person. You can only transform a person by winning over that person. And there is only one way of winning a person over, and that's silently, lovingly embracing the pains and struggles of the other person. This is the leaven that becomes part of the dough. This is becoming one with the pressing of the kneading, the deep cuts that separates the batch into loaves, the burning fire that bakes the bread. Even then, the bread needs to be broken so that it can be eaten and devoured by the hungry ones. Only then will it bear its fruit and give life to those who consume it. This is real life. This is the only lasting life. This is the only meaningful life. This is the kingdom that Jesus came to establish on earth by planting it in the hearts of each one of us, one by one, day by day, drop by drop. And to do this, he did not set up armies, he didn't set up powerful institutions, strong and productive economies, popular political or religious factions. That was not his way. All these might perhaps help or seem to help to build just the kingdoms of this world. But the kingdom that Jesus came to plant in our hearts is not just the kingdom of this world. It is the tiny seed of his love, which is destined to become the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of joy. Pope Francis has put all this in a much more beautiful way in one of his recent communications. He says, You can have flaws, be anxious, and even be angry, but do not forget that your life is the greatest enterprise in the world. Only you can stop it from going bust. Remember that to be happy is not to have a sky without a storm, a road without accidents, work without fatigue, relationships without disappointments. To be happy is to find strength in forgiveness and love in discord. It is not only to enjoy the smile, but also to reflect on the sadness. It is not only to celebrate the successes, but to learn lessons from the failures. Being happy is not a destiny, it is an achievement, but only for those who can travel deep within themselves. To be happy, continues the Pope, is to cross deserts. It is to thank God for every morning, for the miracle of life. It is having the courage to hear and know that life often tells us. It is confidence in the face of criticism, even when it is unjustified. Happiness is to kiss your children, pamper your parents, to live poetic moments with friends, even when they hurt us. It is to have the courage to say, I am sorry. It is to have the sensitivity to say, I need you. It is to have the ability to say, I love you. May your life become a garden of opportunities for happiness. In spring, may it be a lover of joy. In winter, a lover of wisdom. For only then will you be in love with life. You will find that to be happy is not to have a perfect life, but use the tears to irrigate tolerance. Use your losses to train your patience. Use your mistakes to carve your serenity. Use pain to plaster pleasure. Use obstacles to open windows of intelligence. Never give up. Never give up on people who love you. Never give up on happiness, for life is an incredible show. Thank you, Pope Francis, for this marvelous message. May we open our hearts to receive it and live it in our everyday life, so that we will also inherit the kingdom of heaven. God bless you and thank you.